Well, welcome, and thank you for buying a Birch Grove small table. Matches with your high chairs. It's kind of an end table to go between them. So if you look here, you can see these are the parts that your table is going to come in. These will all be in one box when it's shipped. Then your chairs will be in other boxes as well. And if you've bought the high captain's chairs, you'll be able to look at that video to see how to put those together. So this is how you put your small table together. Your screws and bolts are going to come in a plastic bag. I'd recommend when you open them up, you double check that you have the right number of screws and bolts, which you'll see cut into this video onto what it is you need that should be in your package. I would recommend you take and put your bolts and your screws in a container, because if you lay them on a table or lay them on the ground or somewhere else, they might roll off and then you lose them. Something I've learned over the years. First thing you're going to notice is the tabletop. I recommend you put your tabletop upside down. There are letters that are written on the rim, and they correspond with the tops of the legs. We've got C and D. Over here on this side of my table, I have C and D, so that you know C matches with C and D matches with D. And the same thing here. We've got B and we've got A. So right here I have A and I have B. Taking the A side, matching it to there. Now, it's also recommended, I like to use these spring clamps. It's recommended to take and clamp your two things together. These have rubber ends on them, so they work really well. They're handy. You clamp it together, making sure your corners are tight here. This will hold this together, but you want to make sure you're tight over to here. Now you're also going to have included in your kit when you come 2 driver bits, a T25 or a T25 here and a T20. They're going to be included in with your screws. You can put them in. I'd recommend to have a power drill. It's a whole lot easier. You want a variable speed, you don't want a fast one. You go too fast, you're going to sink your screws in too far. So the screws that are going to go here between two pieces is going to be 1 3/4 screws. You also have 2-inch screws in here. All of your fasteners are stainless steel. As you can see, we've got 2 different size screws, 2-inch, 1 3/4. Your 1 3/4 are the ones that are going to go between these two pieces. The pieces of your wood right here in your furniture is 1 inch. So each piece is 1 inch thick, hence the 1 3/4 screws. The T20 driver goes for the 1 3/4 screws, and the T25 goes for the 2-inch screws. Once you've clamped your piece in place, you lined up your screws, you want to put your screws in. Now take and start your screw a little bit by hand so you can get it lined up so it's straight. It'll already have been made and manufactured in our shop, and it'll be threaded already too. You go very slowly. You can feel the screw go into the hole. It's already pre-drilled. If it starts to get resistance, you've got to make sure and double check that you don't have the wrong leg there. Make sure again, A matches A, B matches B, C, and D. You might want to take and put your 2-inch screws in one container and your 1 3/4 in another so you don't get them confused. Now you don't want to over tighten, but you want it to be snug. If you over tighten, you sink it too far, you can end up causing problems. And tap that over. have my glasses on, I can see what's going on. Again, here we have C and D, C and D. Once you've got that on, you've got it lined up, you know you've got the rest of it. And you wonder why I'm going slow maybe with the thing, is just to make sure that my screw is going into the hole. So I know I've got it lined up. Now these are in here. Now your signature boards, which is important, number one, because it has the logo on it for Birch Furnishings. But the other reason is, this is how you're going to determine where your pieces go. This is your structure. Now this being the top of your board, of your table, your logos want to be up. Again, these are labeled B and A. Over here is B, over here is A. So we're on this side. So you want to look for the one. This says C, up. Now in this case, up is not here. Up is down there. So it says up. You want to remember that's what you're doing here. So we put these in here. Here it's a good idea to have a clamp. Some kind of clamp. These aren't too expensive. I've got two different kinds here that you can buy at any kind of home improvement store. These are what's called bar clamps. These are some cheaper ones. You can see they've got metal on here, metal on both ends. So if you're going to do that, you'll want to put a block of wood in there. I take and buy these. This is a 24-inch clamp. It has rubber on both ends already there. It's a heavier duty one, so I prefer these. You don't want to mar up your wood. So that's how to hold this tight. But what you'll want to do, this is where the 2-inch screws come in. You get your 2-inch screws started there. And you'll want to switch to the T25 driver. It works better for the 2-inch screws. And I'm going to loosen this up, and the reason why is I want these to line up. Now the way these are manufactured, this board is not 100% flush with this board out here. You'll notice, I don't know if you can see it, but all of your edges are rounded. So this is manufactured in such a way that it sets back here a little bit, approximately 1/4 of an inch. So these screws will pretty much close to coming into the center of this board. So you want to take and have it loose so you can feel those screws go into that hole. And I've lined it up into one hole. So I know I'm lined up. Now there's one lined up. Okay, so now that I've got something lined up, I'm going to go ahead and back this off a little bit. Put my clamp back on there and snug it up. Now I'm going to back my screws out. I've got a tight joint. I'm going to snug this back down. You can feel the screw just seat right in. It's already been drilled and put together at the factory in the shop. So these line up. Now I'm just going to tap this. This is out of place here. It's crooked. You can see that or not. When it's crooked, so I know that's not going to line up. But that's the reason for the clamp. You hold things together. Now also making sure that this is tight to this, because that's how it was manufactured. And I could feel that just lined that right back up. This piece moved and it lined up the hole. And then my battery died. So, after we replaced our battery, we didn't keep on going here. Take my clamp off. Up is down. B, B. Starting our screws. Having our inset here a little bit. It's probably not a 1/4 inch, probably about 1/8 of an inch. And I feel that go right in perfect. If you go into the end grade, you're going to feel a lot of resistance, so then you know you're not right in the hole. The screw will go in, but it's not going to go in the proper hole, and you might run the risk of splitting this wood out if you're not in the hole that's already pre-drilled. That one moved a lot, but I had it lined up in the real close area of having it in the hole. The factory pre-drilled hole. There we go. Okay, now. Now we're going to take and tip our table back over. There's a few other screws yet that need to go in right here to help secure the table to the top much better. These are 2-inch screws that I'm putting in here. We're going through a piece of 1-inch board here, and then we've got 3 3/8 right here. So that's why for the longer screws it had much more structural strength. Okay, so your table's together, making sure we've got all our screws in. You may have an extra screw or two in your bag. We might send it along a couple extras just in case you strip one out or something happens. That way you can make sure you have enough screws. But now you have holes here that are drilled. This is the structural integrity right here of your table. This will hold together, it's fairly sturdy, and these will be okay. But one of the hallmarks of what we try to do here at Birch Furnishings is to build sturdy quality furniture that can hold up under normal wear and tear and not fall down even if it's dropped down here or whatever. We recently had an individual bring a rocking chair armrest in. They had bought some rockers back in the fall, and a tree. They had had some people trimming trees, and a tree limb fell on a rocker and broke the armrest. So they came by. I was able to give them another armrest. We use templates here. I reproduce all your armrests, are all the same. I just gave them another armrest, stained it quality, and handed it to them. They paid me $25 and walked out here happy as can be. And that just fits right back on the product that was already there. Now the crucial thing here when you're putting your bolts in is not to strip out these heads. These are carriage bolts. They seat right in. You drive them in with your mallet. They're going to seat right in there. You can use, you're going to need a 7/16 inch wrench or socket. You can see this head is sticking out a little bit, so this is what we're trying to do. It's got to be sunk in order to have a good joint. And what I always do is I put my thumb on here, or my finger or something on here to see, and I hold it to make sure that you don't tighten it too far. You want to tighten it and snug it down, and I go slowly, because then that head will seat. If it starts to turn, you need to stop, because that's as far as you can tighten it. If you let it strip out, then it's not going to hold as well. And ideally, you want the head to sink in a little bit. And if you can tighten it more and it won't spin, tighten it more. It's not going to hurt anything. And here you have it, a Birch Grove high end table to match your Birch Grove Captain's high deck chairs. Thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful, and thank you for buying a Birch Grove Furnishings product.